Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most important tool with which you can use to change the world. Before President Biden was inaugurated in January of 2021, we had 4 years of an extremely divisive presidency and some of the worst cabinet members in U.S. history, notably Betsy DeVos. As Secretary of Education, she was notable not for the good things she did for our students, but for the bad things she did to the department as a whole. She refused to support students who had been frauded by credit lenders. She had refused to support LGBTQ plus students. And her entire tenure is a stain on the department. However, according to NPR this morning, we have a chance to change that in a new era for the Department of Education under Dr. Miguel Cardona, the former head of Connecticut's public school system. As the nominee for Secretary of Education, he will be cleaning up her mess. And he leads me to ask today's question. What should be the top priority in the first year of President Biden's Department of Education? Now, the answer is clear that we need to reopen schools, but there's another area that Dr. Cardona should focus on: bilingual education. Today, we'll focus on three key areas. First, the increase in the population of English language learners in the United States. Then, we'll focus on the fact that there's been a decrease in funding for programs to help students and English language learners, before finally going on to look at the fact that we can close the public to private school pipeline in America. But first, we have to understand that the population of English language learners in the United States continues to increase. According to the New York Times on January 18th of 2021, in the entire population of public school students in the United States, about 10% of them are currently English language learners. Now, this number doesn't account for the students who have already been deemed proficient in English, but have not yet mastered the language. 10% of students are currently in a program for English language learning. What's important for us to recognize here is that this is a large number of school students in the United States, and it's no longer just in border states like Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California. In fact, according to NBC on January 20th of 2021, while that used to be the idea that English language learners came from those border states, between 2004 and 2014, the highest increase in English language learner populations were in Arkansas, Mississippi, and South Carolina. We can no longer ignore English language learners in the United States, nor should we have done that in the past. According to the LA Times on January 19th, bilingual education must become a national issue, which is why the Biden administration has to recognize that an increase in the population of English language learners in our school system necessitates a focus on bilingual education. But it's not just the population increase that necessitates this. It's also the fact that programs for teachers and English language learners continue to lag behind other countries, according to the Washington Post on January 20th of 2021. In the United States, there are largely state or local level programs that help English language learners more than the department as a whole. The reason for this, that article notes, is that there's been a decline in the funding for those programs and the interest in helping them. According to CNN on January 17th of 2021, Betsy DeVos, and during her administration and tenure in the Department of Education, not only decided to lack focus on bilingual education programs, but defunded some of them altogether, leading local school districts to pick up the pace. According to the Boston Globe, on January 23rd of 2021, one such school district is in Seattle, Washington, where they actually help prepare teacher aides who teach and speak more than one language to prepare for a fast track for teacher certification for the state of Washington. Making this a national program is going to help not only bilingual students, but bilingual educators as a whole. It's time for us to have a Department of Education that recognizes that these students are important and that their teachers are just as important. The education profession in the United States is overwhelmingly white and overwhelmingly monolingual. Preparing teachers for students who don't speak English as their first language is one of the key steps in ensuring that our education system is open and available for all. Equity in education is important. which is why when it comes to the population of English language learners and the programs that help the teachers and the students, by implementing this under the first year of Biden's administration, we can finally close the public to private school pipeline that currently exists in the United States. According to the Chicago Tribune on January 16th of 2021, the elite and rich people in the United States can afford to send their kids to private schools that focus on bilingual education. In an increasingly interconnected world where different languages are needed for regular communication, business, and other methods, we have to have an education system that values those types of students. According to the Huffington Post on February 1st of this year, Dr. Cardona himself is an English language learner. As the Secretary of Education, he will have a unique position that would allow him to take the steps necessary to create national programs to help our students, especially those who don't know English first. According to the Meridian Time on February 2nd of 2021, this is one of the key things that Secretary Cardona is expected to focus on. Bilingual education can close the public to private school pipeline, because not only would an education be now attainable to every person in a bilingual format, but the elite wouldn't be able to pay their way into the continued system that helps them stay at the top while keeps others below them. At the end of the day, it is imperative for us to ask the question. In the first year of Biden's administration in the Department of Education, what should be the top priority? It's clear that under Secretary Cardona, bilingual education has to be front and center. We looked at the increasing population. We looked at the programs that have been hurt. And finally, we looked at the closing of the pipeline between public and private schools. Education is a tool to change the world. We need it today.